Okay, now, the last story I'm going to tell you is Rumpelstilskin, or the name game, Rumpelstilskin Rap. Once upon a time, there was a miller who was very poor, but he had a beautiful daughter. Now, it happened that the king was conducting a customer service poll of all his subjects, and he knocked on the door of the miller. And the miller wanted to impress the king and appear important. So he told the king that he had a daughter who could spin straw into gold. The king was impressed. "I could use someone with her talent," said the king. "The economy is in terrible shape. The stock market is falling. Houses are in foreclosure. Banks are failing, and my ratings are worse than George W. Bush's. Bring her to my castle tomorrow." Well, the miller knew full well his daughter couldn't spin straw into gold, but he couldn't tell the king he had lied to him or else. So he brought his daughter to the castle the next day. The king put the miller's daughter into a room that was filled with straw from floor to ceiling. "Set to work," he said, "and if by tomorrow morning you have not spun this straw into gold, you shall die. If you succeed, you will be my wife." And so the king left the room and left the miller's daughter to ponder his romantic proposal. Well, she started to cry. Boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo. She had no clue how to spin straw into gold. Well, all of a sudden, the door opened, and a little man came in. And here he is. "I just happened to be passing by," said the little man, "and I heard you crying. What seems to be the trouble?" "Oh," said the miller's daughter, "I have to spin this straw into gold, or tomorrow I shall die. And if I succeed, the king will marry me, and I don't know which is worse. And anyhow, I don't know how to spin straw into gold." "Well, I do," said the little man. "But what will you give me if I do it for you?" "Oh, I have nothing to give you," said the miller's daughter. "I'm just a poor miller's daughter." "Oh, yes, you do," said the little man. "You can give me a promise." "What promise?" "Promise to give me your firstborn child when you are queen." Well, the miller's daughter was desperate, so she promised what the little man demanded. And so all night long he spun, and he spun, and he spun, and he spun the straw into gold. The next morning at the crack of dawn, when the king came into the room, he saw it filled with gold, and he fell in love at first sight of the gold. He thought to himself, "I could search the whole world over, and I would never find anyone as rich as the miller's daughter." He ordered the wedding to be held at once. "But aren't you going to ask me first?" said the miller's daughter. "Of course," said the king. "Would you like to be my wife, or would you like to be beheaded?" This king had all the charm of Al Capone, but he lacked his compassion. "Well," since you put it that way," said the miller's daughter, "I accept your proposal." Well, in due time, the miller's daughter had a beautiful little baby boy. And she was so happy she had forgotten all about the little man. But one day, he came in and said, "Give me what you promised." The queen was horrified. She said, "Oh, I'll give you all the treasures in my kingdom, only let me keep my child." "Wouldn't your parents say that? They wouldn't want to lose you. Children are very precious." "No," said the little man. "A living thing is more precious to me than all the treasures in the kingdom." Then the queen started to cry. Boo! She mourned. She grieved. She lamented. She whimpered. She wept. She sobbed. She bawled. She blubbered. She howled. "You're just trying to make me feel guilty," said the little man. "You're worse than a Jewish mother." And then the queen carried on even more. She screamed, she screeched, she shrieked. She tore her hair, she rent her clothes, she wrung her hand, she foamed at the mouth. She was a drama queen. "Oh, all right," said the little man. "I tell you what, I will give you 3 days. If at the end of that time you can guess my name, you can keep your child. If not, The child must be given to me. Well, the queen pulled an all-nighter. She sat up all night thinking of all the names that she could possibly think of. She got on the computer and she Googled unusual names, popular names, unpopular names. She went to Barnes & Nobles and bought a book called The Book of Names. And here it is. I have to get it. And the next day, when the little man came, the queen called him every name in the book, starting in alphabetical order, starting with the letter A. Could you be Atticus, she began? Algernon, Aloysius, Angus, Archibald, Alfalfa, Arnold, Schwarzenegger? No, said the little man, that is not my name. How about Buzz Lightyear, said the queen, Casper, the friendly ghost, Charlie Brown, Darth Vader, Dennis the Menace, Dora the Explorer, Felix the Cat, Frosty the Snowman, Horton the Who, Joe the Plumber, Wurzelbacher. Mr. Magoo, Mickey Mouse, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ronald McDonald, Scooby-Doo, Shrek, SpongeBob SquarePants, Mr. Snuffleupagus, Winnie the Pooh, Yoda, Zeke, Zord, Zykes. The queen was quite the name dropper, but she didn't score any points with the little man, because after each one he said, that is not my name. The third day, the queen sent Snoop Dogg, her messenger, out to investigate. You heard of Snoop Dogg, huh? Good. She sent Snoop Dogg, her messenger, out to find out all the different names that he could find in the neighborhood. Now, Snoop Dogg came back and gave her all the names that he came up with. She called the little man, and when the little man came the next day, she said, perhaps you are called P. Diddy, Eminem, Tupac Shakur, 50 Cent, Ice Cube, Jay-Z, Kanye West, LL Cool J, Lil Wayne, Flo Rida, Akon, Dr. Dre, Daddy Yankee, Pitbull, Yin Yang, Slick Rick. But after each one, the little man said, that is not my name. Well, the queen sent Snoop Dogg out on the third day, the third and last day. Now, Snoop Dogg is not to be confused with Snoopy the dog, because this dog was one cool cat. And he came back and he said, yo, daddy-o, I'm going to sing a cappella. I've searched far and I've searched wide, all over the hood and the countryside. I could not find even one new name, till over the hills and woods I came, to a little house in a small wood fire, where a little man hip-hopped on 1 foot, sire. This little man was short and squat. I overheard him tell his plot. He sang a song which you shall hear. It will be music to your ears. And this is what the little man sang.